Guys, it was so easy to vote. I was in and out in less than 10 minutes. Fast. Everyone keeps telling you to vote, vote, vote. But what's the point of voting if you have an ignorant vote? I want to take you guys along with me throughout my entire voting process from beginning to end so that you can follow along with me. Determine your stance, determine who you should vote for, and then come along with me to the polls. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining. This video is going to be pretty interesting because I haven't really found myself talking about politics very much in the past. It's something that has always been brought up, but honestly, the reason I haven't really spoken out about it in the past, be it on my Twitch channel or any other forms of social media, is because when this topic comes along, it is a topic that easily divides people. But I've gotten to the point now where that is not something that is gonna hold me back from talking about something that is super important. This is 2020, it's an election year. November 3rd of this year is election day. And believe me, I will be the first to tell you, politics is very overwhelming. I wanted to think of a way that I could make a video about this really important topic that still gets the point across that voting is important. Regardless of your political view, it's important that you voice that opinion. So today's video is going to be tips from a 24-year-old. I'm a Mexican American living in the United States, and I've had to navigate this on my own. Everyone keeps telling you to vote, vote, vote. But what's the point of voting if you have an ignorant vote? We're notorious for not voting in elections. And secondly, we may not really know how to vote and how to vote smart. What if I told you that finding your political stance could be as easy as a BuzzFeed quiz? I want to take you guys along with me throughout my entire voting process from beginning to end so that you can follow along with me. Determine your stance, determine who you should vote for, if you're registered to vote, and then come along with me to the polls. I am going to be doing an early voting session today right after I do this. I'm going to show you that it's so easy you can complete this in one afternoon. So I hope you guys will stick with me. If you know anyone who hasn't voted yet, share this video with them, and I hope it'll teach you guys some quick tips, and if nothing else, help you understand your own political stance. So 1, am I registered to vote? How do I find out if I'm registered to vote? These are two things that you could easily type into your search engine and it'll bring you the correct answer. Another way that you can get there is by typing canivote.org. So at canivote.org, I'm just going to scroll through here under voter registration status. That's where you're going to want to go. After that, you're going to select your state, and each state website is a little bit different. And then it'll have the criteria that you can insert to see if you are registered. I really prefer your driver's license and date of birth, and depending on your state, you could have different criteria. But that's the easiest way. See if you're registered to vote yet. Okay, so say you get to a dead end here and you aren't registered to vote under any of their criteria. If you haven't registered, it may not be too late. There are a total of 11 states that even have registration on election day, which means you can go on day of to a registration site, get registered, and vote right away. To figure out the specifics of your state on that, you can go to vote.org/voter registration deadlines. Before you can make an educated vote, you have to know where you stand. Here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to isidewith.com. If you do nothing else in this video, at least do that. They talk about things about electoral issues, criminal issues, science issues. Then once you have selected your choice, you can then choose how important this is to you on a scale from least to most important. Once you submit your quiz, it's gonna give you some really great information. Now the first tab is my 2020 ballot. And I love this because it shows you the percentage of which that you side with certain candidates on certain issues. But I really enjoy the second tab, which is parties, which is really great. Mostly we only hear about the Democratic and Republican Party, but those aren't the only two out there. So you can see what percentage you match within each group and how associated you are to certain political groups and how disassociated you are from different ones. Other than Democrat and Republican, there's Green, Socialist, Transhumanist, Peace and Freedom, Constitution, Liberalism, American Solidarity. There are a ton of different groups, you guys. And this could be a stepping stone into delving more into that group or into maybe groups that differ from yours and learning more about them. Okay, so this is a really good start. Now you've figured out where your stances are, what percentage of your beliefs align with different candidates. Now we can go on to the next step, which is actually figuring out who to vote for within your state. Now let me tell you, I voted in 2016, and when I went to the polls in 2016, tell me how. Not me believing that I was gonna get a piece of paper that said Trump or Hillary Clinton on it, and then that was it, filled it out, and that was at the end of the day. You're filling out a lot more than who you think you should be president. you are actually voting more so on the local level as well. And that is almost more important because these are representatives that are going to be directly in charge of you in your state. So just to go through the line here, so you'll be voting on things like who should be your county attorney, county sheriff, and those are just to name a few. At least now you know where you stand and you can pick people based on your stance or those that mostly align with you. Seriously guys, our generation doesn't vote. We just don't vote. We don't find an importance in it. We don't feel like we can make a change fast enough. But as a Hispanic living in America, I feel like I am very underrepresented in my state at the national level, and that can only change when I start making that change. And when we start, a lot of the issues that I find are in old belief systems and old values that just don't match our generation, our newer generations. And when I'm looking at the people on my ballot, I realize that there are different voices. There are many females on this ballot that I'm voting for. There's many minorities on this ballot that I'm voting for. And it's up to us to vote those people in power. If you're not seeing yourself represented, you need to do something about that. Guys, women have only been allowed to vote since 1920. That is barely 100 years that women have been allowed to vote. Of course there's going to be misrepresentation. And how are we going to sit here and take that for granted just because it takes a little bit of work on our end? And a lot can be achieved if we try. Okay, now I'm going to show you the biggest gem that I am so happy that I found as a resource for this election. I knew, like I said, who I wanted to vote for as president, right? I know my stance now, but what I don't know is the details about all my local officials within my state. That's where it gets really detailed, and that's where I know I am undereducated. So I'm gonna go ahead and help you out a little bit here. Head over to votesaveamerica.com, and we're gonna scroll down to the Make a Plan tab just a little bit. It's under the yellow section. It says, do you know what's on your ballot? Do you know where and when you're voting? Questions that need answers. Get ready to be a voter now, and you're going to click find out. And this is to find out what's on your ballot. You're going to enter your address there and hit get started, and it's going to prepare your ballot for you. Okay, now the first thing you're going to do is you're going to scroll down on the left side where it says federal candidates. The first tab is President of the United States. Now this is really great. You can click person by person. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and bring up Joe here who is running. It says she is libertarian, and if you keep scrolling down, it gives you her life experience and experience in this field, her education and background, and you can even specifically, and I love this, click on specific issues and see her stance on them. On their specific stance on issues like abortion, civil rights, the coronavirus pandemic, criminal justice, public safety, just to name a few. And if you click on the little pop-out, it'll take you to the actual resource where they got that information. From here, you know your main political stance and those that align most with yours and those that differ the most. So when you go through this, you'll start picking based on those that you side with. You'll have a little bit more of an informed decision here. Click next office and keep going down the line. So what you'll do is you'll click on the person that you want, and then you'll click add to my ballot. All right, now I'm finally at the end here where it says measures, and I have completed my ballot. At this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to the very, very top, and I'm going to print it out. And that's it. Okay, I think I've taken you through the whole breakdown. That has been my process so far of how I've gotten to this point. I am ready to go to the polls, and I'm gonna take you guys with me. I am going to figure out now where I'm gonna go vote, and that's the next step. Okay, so for this one, I went to vote.org/polling place locator, and I'm typing in my address. I'm doing early voting, so I'm gonna go to one that is closest to me, and it looks like this will be the closest one. It looks like it's a recreational center, and it is open till 7 o'clock. It is about to be 6, so I really have to head over there now, and hopefully we can get in, and hopefully there's not a long line. It is Tuesday, October 27th, and we're gonna go vote. It is 42 degrees outside right now. It's super cold, so I got the sweater on. Okay, we're gonna head over to the recreational center. It is 6 o'clock, and it's super close by, so we're gonna go on a little vlog, and you're gonna go vote with me. Hey guys, check out this billboard that I saw along the way. I'm at a stop sign. I'm so gonna vote. Okay, looks like I'm in the right place because there's a ton of people outside, but it is so cold. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it was pretty fast. I was in and out so fast. I really didn't get too much footage. I felt like I was being a little bit intrusive because there were so few people in there that I was just like, I don't really want to record people in case they think I'm like looking over the shoulder or like being sus. So I'm just gonna give you a little breakdown of what happened. I walked into the gymnasium. The first thing they did was they asked for my ID. So I gave them my ID. I verified my ID. After that, I verified my living address. And then he said, okay, you're gonna take this sheet of paper, which was a very long ballot that was empty and I guess just had my personal information on there. So then I walked over. It was all electronic. It was touchscreen digital, and it was just a huge gymnasium with little pods basically. So I inserted my ballot in there. I started selecting all of my representatives, and then at the end of it, I got to review it, printed it out, and then it printed up it didn't actually print the names, it printed a sort of code. And so I grabbed that, went over and submitted it. Guys, it was so easy to vote. I was in and out in less than 10 minutes. All right, so I have my papers that I printed out. I told you I printed out the reps that I'm going to vote for, and I'm gonna take these papers by hand. There's people directing us in, and yeah, we'll see. Thank you so much for coming with me on this little adventure. It really is only the second time I've ever voted, and it was really cool to share that with you. I hope that you guys got a few tips from this. Please like and share this video with at least one other person, especially if they are between the ages of 18 and 25. Give it a like if you agreed with any of the tips or if you learned something. Please comment down below either your voting experience, or you can just simply say I voted or I will be voting this year. Thank you guys so much for sticking around to the end of the video. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one.